You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Because you can handle the truth.
Good evening from Targeted, Massachusetts and the Republic Broadcasting Network. My name is Frank Allen. I will be your host. You can call in and ask a question or make a comment at 800-313-9443 or call in and listen at 605-313-0163. You can receive a copy of our newsletter simply by writing Frank at targetedmassachusetts.org. In the subject line, type newsletter or visit our site at targetedmassachusetts.org, and in the navigation, go to contact information. When completed, click submit or call me in the U.S. at 1-508-857-8334. Okay, tonight we are going to revisit something that we skimmed through, and that is HAARP. Now, this article was actually put together to provide a summary of the contents of a book written in 1995, which describes an early new class of weapons. Now, it is as if we need something else to think about. But the weapons and their effects are described in the following pages. The United States Navy and Air Force have joined with the University of Alaska, Fairbanks, to build what they called then a ground-based Star Wars. Well, this is a weapon system located in the remote bush country of Alaska. Now, to parallel this, the Chinese have built the same system recently, and it is within a populated city. So you can imagine the ramifications of such a build. Okay, there are many people at the time that this was being built who were demanding answers because they couldn't understand how this HAARP was going to control the weather. And that's all they said in the beginning. And then facts started to trickle in. Now, people that called in include a physician from Finland, a scientist in Holland, an anti-nuclear protester in Australia, an independent physicist in the United States, a grandmother in Canada, and countless others. I'd like to interject here as well that this planet belongs to the people. The planet does not belong to the United States government or any other government. They do not have the right to take chances with our planet, period. But unlike the protests of the 60s, the objections to HAARP have been registered using the tools of the 90s, the internet, fax machines, syndicated talk radio, and a number of alternative print mediums. So the word started to get out, and people are waking up to this new intrusive device being built by an overzealous United States government. Now, the United States government seems to do whatever the hell they want to do with our money. They're as transparent as a brick wall. You don't see anything. So a research team put together to gather materials that found their way into the book, never held a formal meeting, never formed an organization. Each person acted like a node on a planetary info spirit net with one goal held by all: to keep this controversial new science in the public eye. Now, I know personally, as a result of this, HAARP has had many open houses where people can come in and ask questions. What does this do? Why is it here? The answers they get are actually historically incorrect. Now, this book, Angels Don't Play This HAARP, advances in Tesla technology. Now, after being targeted for almost 8 years, I do not like Mr. Tesla. I know he's the father of so many things, but he is the father of targeting from the beginning, because it's all his research that has made HAARP possible. I don't like the man. I'm sure someone else would have invented it, but I don't like it. Okay, we have Mike from Kentucky. Go ahead, Mike.
Taking chances with our planet. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Speaking of that, and I didn't call about this exactly, but when you said it, I thought I've got to mention this. Elon Musk is seeking the FCC's relaxation of the spectrum warehousing regulations because he claims to get his 5G satellite swarm in orbit, he'll have to launch 60 satellites a month. Now, what the hell is that going to do to our ozone layer? They banned in 2009, just not counting the radiation, just the dang launches of the rockets, okay? In 2009, they banned the use of a chlorofluorocarbon-containing asthma inhaler, because the millions of people around the planet that was using that supposedly were damaging the ozone layer. 4 shuttle launches in 2009 did more damage to the ozone layer than all of those asthma inhalers combined. Now they want to put I've got the PDF document. If anybody wants it, they can go read it. It's on my little TV10 Newslines group page on Facebook. If you go look it up, TV10 Moorhead Newslines. The PDF document is there. It's published. It's on the FCC.gov webpage, and it's in their transition section or something, where he's begging the FCC, relax your spectrum warehousing regulations so we can start with maybe 1,600 and then 4,000 and then 12,000 over the course of several years. He wants 2 orbital swarms, one at 700 miles up, which would put that in the Van Allen belts, meaning that it would be damaged by solar radiation, and those satellites would have to be replaced on some kind of a regular basis, which means more launches. And then he wants another swarm at around 200 miles, which would be just about the upper edge of the orbit for the space station. So, I mean, both of those orbital bands would be susceptible to damage from the Van Allen belt radiation, so they would have to be hardened against that. But anybody that's looked at this, even the communication satellites that are out at 23,500 miles out in orbit, they don't have 10 or 12 years, and they run out of fuel. They have to be regularly maintained in their orbits. So that means, they're going to have to be relaunches of spares. They have to keep spares on orbit, just like with the Iridium phone system, which is 66 satellites and 6 spares. It had to be taken over by the bin Laden empire in order to keep it from being deorbited about 2000. And well, it was right before they claimed to have killed bin Laden. I think the bin Laden family empire took over the Iridium satellites, because that was the second time they had threatened to deorbit them because they couldn't afford to maintain them. So, and I don't know what frequencies these are going to operate on. The terrestrial-based 5G will operate in the terahertz band eventually, which has the same harmonic frequencies as the helical shape for most of your sweat glands and oil glands in your skin. So those helical shapes, if you remember the early days of the cell phone antennas, they looked like little curly Q pubic hairs on the top of people's cars.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, the coil was a choke coil that allowed the antenna to be shorter. And so some people I'd seen, I don't know if it worked or not, they would take those stick-on antennas and put one on the outside of their window glass and on the inside of the window glass in order to re-radiate the signal into their car, they claimed, and they got better signal when you got into fringe area. Back in the analog days, you'd get the static, and they claimed that it worked better. But that is the principle, is this harmonic, sympathetic re-radiation in the shape of your sebaceous oil glands and sweat glands is a coil of the oil gland, and there's a nerve right there. So that's how some of these directed energy weapons work, is they excite that nerve, and so that's the thought, is that some of this 5G could be weaponized, since they're all software-defined radios, and they have been for over a decade now. All the cell phones, as we transitioned from analog into digital, became increasingly software-defined radios. So as soon as you want to, you can reconfigure that phone to spy on people, to adjust the power, and do all kinds of nefarious things. You can reserve part of the memory to record audio when you're not in an area that has signal, and then when you get back to the signal area, it uploads the audio. Now, Snowden leaked this in the slides, but it confirms my situation here at the local TV station going back to the late 90s, about at least 1997. And the darndest thing about this is I have been in contact with numerous lawyers, some very recently, including the lawyer that William Binney is paired up with to sue the NSA and President Trump, ironically. I don't know why, I guess by the legal convention that Trump has to be sued since he is the commander-in-chief over the NSA. Those Tennessee lawyers use an excuse that he can't help me because he does not have license to practice in Kentucky, but yet he's filed in the District of Pennsylvania against this domestic surveillance stuff. The same thing with the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Their case got thrown out in New York just within the last month. And the judge, yes?
I believe that anyone can file in the District of Columbia, if I'm not mistaken. I could be, but...
I have a complaint. You know, the FCC recently changed over to a formal complaint system, and they have this whole big, long rules and guidelines thing, and at the very bottom it says, we strongly encourage you to get a lawyer. And so I have heard, and I don't know if you've listened to very many William Binney interviews, but he can rattle off all of these laws that they're violating, like the pen registry law and this or that law and this or communications law. The thing is to file a formal complaint and have it stick, you know, and not just be thrown out and waste $250. You have to cite all those implementing regulations that they're violating in the telephone laws. And so I can't find a communications lawyer in this land that has the hairy scrotum that will help me file this. I have victims. I have people that if I can get this going, they will jump on board and give affidavits. I mean, I'm broadcast
I have a lawyer for you.
Okay, great. That's what I was going to ask. Is anybody listening?
Rutherford Institute and John Whitehead.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's very...
I'm sorry, your phone broke up
the
there,
underdog.
John. You broke up. What now?
I'm sorry. He fights for the underdog, and he always has, and he's got a very good reputation, and that's the man you want to call.
John Whitehead, you say?
Yes, sir, at the Rutherford Institute.
Rutherford Institute. I will do that. Now, he would be about probably the fifth guy I've talked to in the last year or so. So let's hopefully fifth time is the charm. But I think to me it points toward this whole setup being rigged. And I think the Electronic Frontier Foundation is looking to be just simply a steam valve. In other words, people put their energy into this, and a lot of what they do doesn't go anywhere. But they, you know, every now and then they'll let a little steam off. Like this case here, they claim that you can't sue the government unless you can prove damages. Well,
okay.
I think I've got several that can. Go ahead.
What I'd like to say is the FCC has been pounded down into something like the local men's club or something like that, because the FCC lets everything through. They stop nothing.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
They're trying to
kill broadcasting. I think they're trying to kill broadcasting in a large way. I think that was rigged. The digital broadcast format that we've had for the last 20 years was rigged to fail. It was rigged to fail. Now, Sinclair basically kept petitioning to change the format 20 years ago. We finally have the new format, but they have killed off a huge number of stations and the audience. And, of course, now they're going to, I think, let this new format come because the vast majority of people will be watching in a Wi-Fi environment so that their TVs and displays can phone home everything they're doing through the Wi-Fi connections, the smart TVs.
Well, what I'd like them to do for me is I've already seen, you know, which countries own which satellites. I already have that. I want to know, okay, they'll say from, just to give you an example, it's not accurate, just from 300 kilohertz to 900 kilohertz goes to the federal government. I want to know exactly which branches of the federal government are using these signals.
Well, Channel 37 exclusively reserved for satellite astronomy. But the phone networks have took everything from channel 37, which I'm trying to remember, that's 550 megahertz, right on up to 24 gigahertz, with the exception of some military communications and aircraft and things like that. A lot of this is going straight to the phone syndicates, as I call them, and the phone industry for 20-some years at the very least has captured the FCC. There's an ethics report from Harvard on this. And so you know, anybody that wants to be the chairman of the FCC, they just need to be politically connected and have about $900,000 you can buy the chairmanship. That's what Tom Wheeler did. And he advocated for 5G the whole time he was there and helped to quash broadcaster.
That is really crazy. I didn't realize that corruption was out in the open. Okay, we have to go to commercial. You can hang on if you want.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Good evening from Targeted Massachusetts and the Republic Broadcasting Network. My name is Frank, and in case you've just tuned in, we are speaking about the infamous HAARP project. You can call in and ask a question or leave a comment at 800-313-9443 or you can call in and listen at 605-313-0163. And remember, at Republic Broadcasting, there is always a way to listen. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and you will find it. Okay, we have Mike online. Are you still with us?
Yeah, on the HAARP issue, I was talking to an old Army guy who happened to witness electric power being transmitted. He said, I'm not supposed to talk about this, but he heard me talk about it on the local station here, which is sort of a cable access low-power TV station. And then he saw like Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory talking about HAARP. And I got to talk to him. He's like, I saw electric power being transmitted back in the, late 1950s or something across a military base in the southern United States. I don't really want to give a lot of detail because I might figure out who he is. But he says, I'm not supposed to talk about this. And I said, well, what were they doing? Transmitting power to some kind of like forward radio facility or something? And he said, well, I assume that they would have that much power, is what he was saying, that they could power, a radio transmitter so that the cavalry scouts could phone in artillery or something like that. I mean, he wasn't in on it. He just witnessed it. And so the wireless transmission of electricity has been going on significant enough for the Army to use it since the late 1950s. Now, we've had all kinds of advances in amplifier technology since then. I mean, what are we talking, 60-some years? That's ancient history in electronics, isn't it?
I will give you an example of wireless electricity that will blow your mind. A transformer, a kick-down transformer will say or any transformer has 2 sets of coils in it. And there is a space in between. One coil excites the other and produces the kick-down voltage necessary. But I've duplicated the wireless electricity experiment, and it is very simple. I'm telling you. If you'd like to shoot me an email, I'll write back how simple it is.
Well, he was telling me that they openly taught him when he was in some kind of electronics school that the cavity resonant frequency for the Earth is something like 22.4 hertz, and that's one of the things I'd read about with Tesla, is that he was able to send out a pulse and have it bounce all the way around the Earth and then kind of spank it and bump it up and amplify it every time it came around the planet in that resonant frequency. It would just bounce it around and amplify it. And I had heard that in his wireless transmission experiments, he actually diverted the weather by accident. He didn't realize he was reaching a point of diminishing return. In other words, he cranked up the power, and instead of getting more power on the other end, he got less. And he noticed as he traveled between the two points that the weather actually had been diverting around this area where he was aiming his bounce off the ionosphere. And that has to be where the HAARP came up. I believe that's where they came up with the HAARP.
I was content to just light a light bulb on the other side of the room. That's the extent of it.
Not Tesla, apparently. And of course, this is stuff that there's all kinds of stuff about him that we're not allowed to know. As you probably know, they confiscated whatever papers he had. And I think some of the stuff the man did was showmanship. He tried to get media attention because he wanted to keep the funding flowing from Westinghouse or whatever, but they finally cut him off, I think, and of course he died in a pretty impoverished way. But this domestic spying, I believe, has a lot more victims that are intimidated that won't come forward because they realize the implications of it. But I have numerous.
Yep.
I have numerous witnesses, and locally, But like you say, I'm going to have to find a lawyer. I'm going to call this guy. I'm going to email him and see what I can come up with that direction. Thanks for taking my call, man. Anybody call me, I could use more prospects.
Okay.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Did you know that neither the American Medical Association nor the American Bar Association were established to benefit the American people? Have you recognized that in our country, health care has little to do with health, and that our court system has nothing to do with justice? The priests of both medicine and law have been incentivized to implement a dark agenda on behalf of the Bilderbergers and their ilk. To protect ourselves and our progeny, we need to take a much closer look at how these two giant industries really work. Join me, Al Whitney, on In Defense of Humanity, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Central, as we expose the matrix and learn how not to consent to our own destruction.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Ann, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Good evening from Targeted, Massachusetts and the Republic Broadcasting Network. In case you've just tuned in, we are speaking about the infamous HAARP project, and my name is Frank Allen. You can tune in and ask a question or make a comment at 800-313-9443, or you can call in and just listen at 605-313-0163. And we have just had a very interesting call from Mike, and he has gone over something that actually HAARP is part of. And HAARP has the ability, actually, in effect, to wirelessly transmit energy that can be picked up and used. Okay, I was just starting to mention the book, Angels Don't Play This HAARP, and its advances in Tesla. This article will only give the highlights. But at the heart of the story, ordinary people who took an extraordinary challenge in bringing their research forward. Okay, what HAARP does is it will zap the upper atmosphere with a focused and steerable electromagnetic beam. It is an advanced model of an ionospheric heater. As we all know, the ionosphere is the electrically charged sphere surrounding Earth's upper atmosphere. It ranges between 40 to 60 miles above the surface of the Earth. Put simply, the apparatus for HAARP is a reversal of a radio telescope. The antenna send out signals instead of receiving. So HAARP is the test run for a super powerful radio beaming technology that actually lifts areas of the ionosphere. Do you think that's dangerous? Well, I do. Now, they lift it by focusing a beam and heating. Electromagnetic waves then bounce back onto Earth and penetrate everything, living and dead, for miles into the ground. Miles. So HAARP publicity gives the impression that the high-frequency active auroral research program is mainly an academic project with the goal of changing the ionosphere to improve communications for good. Well, there's nothing good about HAARP. The U.S. military documents put it more clearly. HAARP aims to learn how to exploit the ionosphere for the Department of Defense purposes. Communicating with submarines is one of the things that I mentioned last time we touched upon HAARP, but they go quite further. Press releases and other information from DoD on HAARP continually downplay what it can do. Publicity documents insist that the HAARP project is no different than other ionospheric heaters, operating safely throughout the world in places such as Puerto Rico, Tromsø, Norway, and the former Soviet Union. However, a 1990 government document indicates that the radio frequency power zap will drive the ionosphere to unnatural activities. Now, I can back that up right now. The Schumann resonance is supposed to be 7.83. Now, for those of you who don't understand what it is Earth frequency or Earth's frequency. It's been around for millions and millions of years, and we can't exist without it. Now, I wish I had a caller on here that I could ask this question, But I'm just going to say, what do you think it was today at 4 o'clock? 50 hertz. Now, it spiked once, I believe in 1986. It spiked again in 2016. And in 2018 and 19, it has been off the charts. The chart only goes up to 30. And it's been off the charts. So I will back that 100% just by my own research. The radio frequency energy, dissipative capability, beyond which the plasma process will run away until the next limiting factor is reached. In other words, they are going to run this to the limit and then find something better that will further disturb the ionosphere. If the military, in cooperation with the University of Alaska, Fairbanks, can show that this new ground-based Star Wars technology is sound, they both win. The military has a relatively inexpensive defense shield, and the university can brag about the most dramatic geophysical manipulation since atmospheric explosions of nuclear bombs. After successful testing, they would have the military mega projects of the future and huge markets for Alaska's North Slope natural gas. Now, looking at other patents which built on the work of a Texas physicist named Bernard Eastland, it became clearer how the military intends to use the HAARP transmitter. It also makes governmental denials less believable. The military knows how it intends to use this technology and has made it clear in their documentation. The military has deliberately misled the public through sophisticated word games, deceit, and outright disinformation. Now, this is what the military says that HAARP will do. It will give the military a tool to replace the electromagnetic pulse effect of atmospheric thermonuclear devices. Now, this was still considered a viable option by the military through at least 1986. Secondly, it would replace the huge, extremely low frequency submarine communication system. Now, this is currently operating in Michigan and Wisconsin. This is something that we went over last time. Now, this new technology would be more compact. Okay, number 3 would be used to replace the over-the-horizon radar system that was once planned for the current location of HAARP with a more flexible and accurate system. Number 4, provide a way to wipe out communications over an extremely large area while keeping the military's own communications working. Number 5, provide a wide area, earth-penetrating tomography, which, if combined with the computing abilities of EMAS and Cray computers, would make it possible to verify many parts of nuclear non-proliferation and peace agreements. Number 6, it would replace tools for geophysical probing to find oil, gas, and mineral deposits over a large area. Number 7, it would replace antiquated systems to detect incoming low-level planes and cruise missiles, making other technologies totally obsolete. The above abilities seem like a good idea to all who believe in sound national defense and to those concerned about cost-cutting. However, the possible uses which the HAARP records do not explain, and which can only be found in Air Force, Army, Navy, and other federal agency records, are alarming. Moreover, effects from the reckless use of these power levels in our national shield, the ionosphere, could be cataclysmic, according to some scientists. 2 Alaskans put it bluntly. A founder of the No HAARP project, Claire Zicker, says the military is going to give the ionosphere a big kick, and we will see what happens. The military failed to tell the public that they do not know exactly what would happen. But a Penn State scientist article brags about the uncertainty. Macho science? The HAARP project uses the largest energy levels yet played with by what Beish and Manning call the big boys with their new toys. And that's what it's all about. HAARP is an experiment in the sky, and experiments are done to find out something not already known. Independent scientists told Beish and Manning that a HAARP-type skybuster with its unforeseen effects could be an act of global vandalism. Again, this is our planet. It belongs to us. Okay, we have Ken from Texas on the line. I'm sorry, Ken, I didn't see you. Go ahead.
Yeah. There was a Marine in a little listening vehicle down on the border, I think down in California, and 3 guys opened the door and pulled him out, and he pulled out his pistol and fired a shot. Anyway, you can find it on Breitbart.
Oh, I'd like to have that. How long ago was this?
Huh?
How long ago was this?
Maybe today. You got to read the story, and you go from there.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Okay, now we'll go into a little history. The patents described were actually owned by Arco Power Technologies, and that's part of Atlantic Richfield. Now, the company is one of the biggest oil companies in the world. APTI was the contractor that built the HAARP facility. Arco then sold this subsidiary, the patents, and the second phase construction contract to E-Systems in June of '94. Now, E-Systems is one of the biggest intelligence contractors in the world, doing work for the CIA, defense intelligence organizations, and others. 1.8 billion of their annual sales are to these organizations, with 800 million for black projects. Projects so secret that even the United States Congress isn't told how the money is being spent, meaning we are not told how the money is spent. So, is our government getting more transparent? Oh, I think they're building more walls. E-Systems was bought out by Raytheon, who created the ADS system, or active denial system, of which we are familiar. So, if you combine the ADS system with HAARP, you're starting to get into an area of mind reading. Okay, I'm hearing faint music, so I'm only go to commercial.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, keep it today.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Good evening from Targeted, Massachusetts. and the Republic Broadcasting Network. My name is Frank Allen, and I will be your host. You could call in and ask a question or leave a comment at 800-313-9443, or you can listen at 605-313-0163. Now, in case you've just tuned in, we've been speaking about HAARP, the infamous project that's up in Alaska, out in the boondocks, fortunately away from everyone. Fortunately away. And we've gone over what the HAARP system can do. And now we've started to explore a little bit of a few other things that the HAARP project can do. The method and apparatus for altering a region in the Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, and or magnetosphere was sealed for a year under a government secrecy order and probably altered into something more acceptable to the public. Because everything is available in terms of patents right away, and anything else we can get with a FOIA request. So I think that when we get together Monday evening, we are going to research Eastland and several other companies that are deeply involved with this. And we're going to get into great detail exactly what this thing does and what it could do to us and the world if they just bump it up too much. And what I will say is 7.83 is what we were designed by our Creator to live by. And we need it. It's taken up into space. It's taken everywhere. But 50 to 60 to 70 to 80 hertz, they say that will eventually make someone more enlightened or drive them crazy. And that's fact. So for this coming Monday, we will again venture into HAARP, which is another comm system. Okay. Good night, folks, and God bless.
Foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction. A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855, the number 2, keep it. 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 The number 2